what happens if you keep holding on to it because it feels familiar? Even though it may not be good for you, even though you feel stuck, even though the past is the past and you want to grow, but you're holding on to it. And now it's almost like you're in this vicious cycle, you're in this rabbit hole, and you have the mindset or the heart to grow, but you can't because you're being weighed down by what you're not letting go. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Wisdom in Bloom. I am Denise, and my co-host Kamisha is joining us tonight as we talk to women over 40 and beyond as they're embracing the beauty and the growth and transformation of new beginnings. I again am Denise, and today we're going to be diving into an important topic. The art of letting go. How are you doing, Kamisha?
I am doing good. I am hoping to let go of some things.
Letting go is about moving. It's about making space for what's next, especially when you're over 40, over 50, and you're just holding on to things, you need to let go, whether that's, your personal growth, your new opportunities, a new relationship, because holding on to something will keep us stuck. It just keeps us stuck in where we are. And I remember, Kamisha, I on my one of my previous podcasts, we interviewed a young man, a stand-up comedian, and we've known him for years. And when we knew him back in the day, he was married to a young lady, and now he's married to someone else. And he
Oh,
seems to be, but he seems to be ecstatically happy, like really free. You know what I mean?
really? Like you can feel that just
You
like
can
sink
feel
into you
it, like
and
you literally
it's
feel the energy. Like when we knew him back in the day and he was married, the aura was different. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And now
Mhm.
he's remarried and he's been married for a little while now, but my God, like you just see
It's
the
like he's a different
freedom.
person.
Different person, different person. And we were interviewing him on one of our podcast platform, and the one thing he said to us was that if he had not let go of the old, then
Mm.
God wouldn't have not opened the doors for him to receive the new, you
Mm.
know. And I
Mm.
thought, man, what a huge perspective, because it was like our question to him was like, how did you feel going from that marriage, that platform, all of that was going on to now where you are? And he's like, I'm grateful for what I went through, but I'm also grateful that I was smart enough to listen to my spirit as it was telling me to release, to let
Mm.
go.
Mm.
Because if I had not let go, then my heart would not have had room for the blessing that I have right now.
Mm.
And
Well, it kind of reminds me of something we were reading earlier when it talked about when you hold on to things, it's
hmm
you're training your brain to like stay stuck
yeah.
in
hmm
those patterns,
hmm
right?
hmm
And so if you are training your brain to like to stay stuck by not actually like allowing yourself to like see something new, learn something new,
hmm
be a new person even,
hmm
right?
hmm
Then that's never going to allow you to like move to that next level. Like you
Right.
really I can almost see it as like a not a metaphor, but
Yeah.
it's like a closing off,
Yeah.
right? You kind of
Yeah.
close off when you are not able to like release something or let it go.
hmm
It's
hmm
like you keep it like locked and trapped or whatever, like inside of you. But then once you let it go, then it does make room for like something else.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's
mhm.
like what happens if you keep holding on to it because it feels familiar? Even though it may not be good for you, even though you feel stuck, even though the past is the past and you want to grow, but you're holding on to it. And now it's almost like you're in this vicious cycle, you're in this rabbit hole, and you have the mindset or the heart to grow, but you can't because you're being weighed down by what you're not letting go.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it comes back to fear. So one of the studies that we saw earlier was saying that, 67% of people, they report staying in situations that they know they have outgrown out of fear. And
Mm.
it was an opposite. It sounds like it's an opposite. Well, that your the comedian was like that other 30% or something
Mhm.
that
Mhm. Mhm.
decided not to stay in that situation. And I
Yeah.
do think that as we get older, we get more stuck in
Yeah.
our fear, not
Yeah.
less stuck in our
I
fear
agree.
because of the
I totally
familiarity.
agree.
Yeah, because like you said, we often mistake familiarity for fulfillment.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
that's not the same thing. Like
Mhm.
fulfillment is not the same as familiarity.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if you are still clinging on to like what you know and like what's familiar, but you also still feel weighed down by the
Yeah.
situation, whether it's a marriage, like this person was saying, or some kind of romantic relationship, or it can even be another kind of relationship. It can be a
Mhm.
friendship, it can be a relationship with a job or a
Mhm.
workplace.
Mhm. Mhm.
But if you know that it's time to let it go,
Mhm.
have to be brave and like step away from the fear and
Yeah.
look to what can be, something new and good and loving and more fulfilling, not
Mhm.
what's familiar.
It drains you too. It drains you. You may not even recognize it, but
Mm,
it drains the life out of you to hold on to something that is not there to help you, to
mm,
assist you. It really drains you. It's almost like you see all those shows where they're hoarders
mm-hmm,
and they're holding on. And when they go through their house, it's real specific. They're not just holding on to everything. They're holding on that to everything that was in the past. Like they go in there and and there's stuff in there from 20, 30 years in that
yeah,
house that they're
right,
just holding on to. And they hold on to it so much that it like drowns them. It encircles them and they have one little tiny spot where they either sit or lay. But everything else around them is the past.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like they're circling themselves with the
Mhm.
past or like
Mhm.
trying to embrace themselves with the past. And you really can't. But back to your point about feeling drained, like that
Mhm.
was one of the signs of outgrowing a situation.
Yeah.
Like feeling drained after you have interactions like with
Yeah.
with the person or with the situation,
Mhm.
making excuses, right, for wanting to maintain kind of like the status quo or like
Yeah.
what others' expectations are. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you can experience like
Yes.
physical symptoms like in your body, and they say the body always knows first, right?
Yeah.
Physical symptoms in your body about the situation. And I think this is very true for women especially because I think, internalize so much. We
Yes.
carry around so much stress, and there's a lot of things that we should be releasing and letting go, but we don't. And then it
And
impacts
the
our
older we get,
physical
the more
health.
we worry and the more we hold on to it.
Yeah, and it impacts our physical health, right? And then you have high blood pressure, or you have some other health condition, like maybe you're adding like physical weight, literally weight
Yeah.
to your body, right?
Yeah.
Because you won't let go of something. And it's the thing is, you need to let go of it. It's
Yeah.
not something that's a surprise or hidden, right? It's different if you don't really know, like, I don't really. No, most of the time we know what it is we need to do.
Yeah.
We just don't do it.
Just won't do it. We won't do it. And it's metaphorically in our entire life. Like if you have a garden and
Mm,
if you are tending to that garden and you want your flowers to grow or your vegetables to grow, the first thing you do is clear the soil. You
mm,
let go, you pull the weeds, you take
mm,
out any stumps, you take out any stones or rock, you till the grass, you clear it, you let go of all the mess is
mm,
in the soil
mhm.
so your garden can release itself, it could grow. I mean, our whole life is metaphorical around letting go, releasing something so you can add something. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
told you the other day, a few weeks ago when we met, and you had given me some mugs, and you know I love mugs. Like mugs are my thing, coffee mugs. I loved them, but the first thing I said to you is, in order for me to put these mugs in my cabinet, my husband has said I have to let go of
Mm.
4 other mugs. In order to put something new in, I gotta let go because I'm becoming like a mug hoarder.
See, you're becoming a hoarder as well.
Yeah, mugs is my thing, girl.
You don't wanna,
So, so even in that, there is something about letting go of things that is not there to serve you, that not there to help you grow anymore. There is something to that. Absolutely.
yeah. And what I found interesting too was, some information that we found about midlife.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like our brain's fear response, it says, actually peaks in midlife. So, making change feels scarier even as
Mm-hmm.
we get older. And I think that explains why so many of us are less resistant to change, like when we're younger,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
don't mind, just moving across the country
We're
or across the
invincible.
world, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just taking
Mm-hmm.
many chances with our lives. But
Yeah.
as you get older, it changes. And it's
Yeah.
and the brain's fear response increases by 30% between
Mm.
ages 45 and 65.
My God. My
I
God.
know.
And you know it's true because I've talked to you about things that I used to do just 15 years ago. But I tell
Mm-hmm.
you that I am just completely fearful about doing them now. And I'm like, sometimes I'm homebound. I'm paralyzed with that fear. And and I remember me and you talking and you said, well, did you ever? I'm like, yeah, I used to do it all the time. I can't, sometimes I can't even get my feet to move to do those
Mm-hmm.
things now, you know?
Well,
So,
it's a real, situation. It's not just
mm-hmm,
like in your mind. It
mm-hmm,
actually is a change in your brain as
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
get older. So it's
So
even
how,
harder to fight against it.
but how do you think that you recognize what's holding you back? How do you recognize what no longer serves you? Even though I think you know, like you said, I think you kind of know, but how do you really like pinpoint and recognize? Because sometimes it's not as simple as, oh, let me clean out this closet because these coats are not serving me anymore. I can't wear these coats. I'm gonna, mentally and relationship wise, sometimes it's just not as clear cut as that.
You're talking about if you're like a hoarder or something and you don't realize that you are hoarding. I,
I'm saying mentally in relationships, jobs,
because those
whatever.
are
Like,
blocks too. Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
I really feel like we have to do our work on
Mm-hmm,
ourselves.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We do. We have to do our work on ourselves. And if you get to a point in your life where you are feeling as though you are stuck
Yeah.
for some reason, right? Like you are stuck for some reason. There's some fear there. There's some like underlying fear
Mm-hmm,
that's happening
mm-hmm.
there. And that's when you have to actually start talking and to yourself or maybe someone else to help you uncover like where
Mm-hmm.
that is coming from.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that it's just a surprise. I think
Right.
that we know. We may not know. Perhaps there's some trauma, right? There could be some trauma that's there from, a long time ago that maybe you've blocked out or something. But there's ways to get underneath all of that and expose it. So I
Yeah.
think you have to take the time to get to know yourself and
Mm.
understand like what's happening. And there's physical changes that occur, right?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
have, stress, if you are not able to sleep, if you are gaining weight,
Mm-hmm.
if people are saying that you are irritable or cranky or worrisome, then you have to, well, you don't have to, but I think those are signs and signals
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that you can use to say, okay, maybe there's something I should be doing to like turn the mirror on myself,
Yeah.
see how I can change these things.
Yeah. I also think too, like you were saying, you need to have the mindset of, okay, does this person or this thing bring me peace and joy, or is it draining me? if
Mm,
if by me spending time with you or spending time with it or spending time with this thing, Is it serving me? Is it bringing me joy? Is it bringing me peace? Is it helping me to grow? Or is it draining me? Am I absolutely just mentally wiped out when I leave that thing or leave that person or leave that entity? You know, if it's not serving you, I think that's a clear indication that something may not be what you think it is right there. I think it's time to maybe release a little bit of that and go forward or grow. Another thing is, if you're staying somewhere because you love it or you have fear of change,
Mm.
you know, that's
Mm.
that's another thing. The other one is we fall into the what if. Well, what if I may not want to do that, because what if I do that and it just don't pan out, or what if I do that, or or we go to what is the worst thing that can happen if I do this? What if? I think we go into what if mode, and we always, and I am guilty of this, we always say this sentence first. What is the worst thing that could happen? We always think that. But what if we turn that around and say, what is the best thing that could
The
happen?
best thing, right? It's all about the questions that we ask
Mm-hmm,
ourselves.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because the research shows that 85% of what we worry about never happens.
Yeah,
It never, ever happens.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? But if you are asking yourself and getting yourself in this, like, cycle mentally where it's, oh my gosh, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And the other
Yeah.
thing too, you can't control it. Like most of these things that people are worrying about, especially I feel like women our age, are things
Mm-hmm,
they can't control. They're
mm-hmm.
things that are so far out of your control. You are literally just frustrating yourself by
Yeah,
worrying about them.
yeah.
Because besides the fact that 85% of the things we worry about never happen, I don't even know what the percentage is of the things we're worrying about. We can't control them anyway.
Right, right. Not at all. Not at all. But
Oh,
as we get older, we worry and the fear sets in. I read this article the other day that said that we also need to release outdated beliefs.
yes,
Those
yes.
outdated beliefs, those stinking thinkings, the things that was taught to us at one point in our life that may have served well in that era at that point, and we're
Mhm.
bringing them into our current, and it's not serving us, it's not helping us, it's not growing with us, but because it was taught to us and ingrained into our brain, we can't release it. We can't
Well,
release it.
I think we need to spend more time reevaluating our beliefs.
Mm,
You pick up
mm.
a belief when you were 10
Mhm. Mhm.
because you needed to have that belief when you were 10. Maybe it was a protection. Maybe
Mhm.
there was something that was happening, in your home at that time where
Yeah.
that belief made sense.
Yeah.
But then as you got older, you never reevaluated that belief. You
Mm.
never thought, oh, is this true that,
Mhm.
women can't do whatever, whatever, whatever,
Mhm.
because I know I grew up in a house of my, I was a twin. And so my mom would not allow me to do certain things and she would allow my brother to do. And
Right.
it got me thinking, okay, maybe I can't do those things because I'm a girl. But
Right.
it was only because of what she taught me to believe about
Mhm.
women and girls versus boys and men, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then as I got older, I had to stop and ask myself, well, it's not really true. Like girls can also do this thing, you know? But many times I think we don't ever reevaluate our beliefs.
Mhm.
We learn something when, we are a small child and we just keep that belief and we defend it.
Yeah. Oh
And,
yeah.
we don't
Oh
even,
yeah.
when other
Oh,
people say,
and we defend it. Oh, it worked. It worked for me back then. It'll work for you now. No, sis, it ain't working. Uh-uh. It ain't working. My granddaughter will tell me, she's 16. My granddaughter will say, Emma, we don't do it like that no more. It don't happen like that no more.
It does not work that
It
way.
doesn't work like that no more.
But holding on to beliefs is also safety and comfort too.
Yeah, it is familiarity. There we go again.
Yeah, we're back to, what's familiar, what's
Yeah.
comfortable. It's
Hmm.
not it's not easy letting go of a belief that you have held very close to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's a spiritual or religious belief,
Mm.
or whether it's something you believe about yourself, like your capabilities, or it's just a belief you have about the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like one of the things I learned a few years ago as I was on this journey was, do you believe that, what is the quote? I'm trying to, I think it was something like, do you believe that we live in a world that is, oh gosh, I'm missing it. But it was something to the effect of that, like the world is for you, or like that the world is against you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe that, especially as Black people and living in America, and my family came over on the slave ships, right? So
Yeah.
we've been
Yeah.
here fighting for a long time.
Oh yeah.
So it's easy to believe that the world is against you.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually have to take time to not look at all of the challenges, but then look at all of the ways that people and life is for you,
Yeah.
right? Not
Yeah.
against you. But
Yeah.
that's a major belief that
Major.
people
Major.
have never examined or
Mm-hmm.
never thought to like shift. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a shift that can really make a huge impact, right,
Mm-hmm.
on your life. If you believe that everybody is always constantly against you, you're going to live life in a certain way
Mm-hmm.
versus if you believe that life is for you.
Yeah. I saw this thing where the statement from a lot of midlife women was like and they're staying in these relationships out of fear of being alone, other than, rather than love. And they're saying, if I leave this relationship, will I end up alone? Oh, you might, but will you be at peace? Will you
Mm-hmm.
be opening yourself up for some other growth, or for a different opportunity, or a different, and better relationship? You may just very well be alone for a little bit until those other opportunities come along. I think we get stuck in the what if, if I step outside of my comfort zone, what if I fail? What if I let go and things don't get better? You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, also too, that can go back to maybe they have a limiting belief. Maybe they were brought up in a household where, they were told that a woman needs to have a man to take care of her. And if she doesn't have a man, maybe she's not a real woman. And
Well, we
so
know
for
that.
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. So I feel like there can be things that like wrap around these fears, right?
Yeah.
There's layers to them as
Mm-hmm.
well that you have to really unravel and
Right,
challenge.
right,
Like you have
right.
to challenge them. Like you have
Yeah,
to unravel them and then you have to challenge them.
yeah.
And sometimes, I think people aren't willing to do that. So they just allow the fear to win out because they don't have the strength, the energy, or whatever it is that
Or
they
the
need
resources.
to, yeah,
Mhm.
to fight that fear
Yeah,
and to
yeah.
just move through it.
Yeah, letting go creates a space for a healthier and more fulfilling connection. I read that. Whether it's for myself or someone new, small mindset shifts. You got to start small.
Mm.
Start small, and before you know it, there's this big difference in your life. And I heard you read today. You said your future isn't meant to be a replica of your past. And I thought, man, that is crazy, because you're always trying to relive something that brought you joy, or something that brought you peace that's in your past. But we can
Mm.
never relive it because it's in our past, and no, and whatever emotional or whatever feelings it brought, we're forced to let that go so we can grow and be able to release and open ourselves to what is happening in our future. So
Well, I think that's a lot of it, right? People are spending so much time in the past.
yeah,
They spend too much time, right? They
yeah.
spend too much time, and that's why one of the strategies for helping you to move through fear is to visualize your future self.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Stop thinking
mm-hmm,
about the past, right?
mm-hmm,
Who is
mm-hmm.
it that you want to be in the
Yeah,
future? What do you
yeah.
see for yourself in the future? Maybe you have been held back by fear of leaving a relationship or a job or whatever, right? But what instead of staying stuck there, like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to move past it. Like, let's look to the future. Okay, what is it that I see for myself?
Right.
But that also increases your confidence, right? So if you're
Yeah.
visualizing the future, it increases your confidence, which gives you the courage to, in the
Mm-hmm.
present, make
Mm-hmm.
different decisions. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're still stuck in the past and you're looking to the past and you're seeing yourself as that person from the past, then it's going to be very difficult for you to make those changes, those small changes that you're
Yeah.
saying that you need to start making.
I think one way too is journaling, writing it down. What is those small changes that you want to make? I mean, we're in our 30-day gratitude challenge right now where we're writing in our gratitude journal every day. And I can be totally honest with you, every day has not been a gratitude. Some days I write in the book like I'm struggling. I'm struggling, even though I know that there's 100 things about my life that I should be grateful for. This one thing is not happening and I'm struggling, you
Mhm.
know? And
Mhm.
so, but just to see it written and to see it on that paper, it brings light to me to say, okay, I'm releasing that. I'm releasing that from in my heart, in my soul, in my spirit to this paper, and I'm writing it out to let myself know that today I'm not okay. And I'm trying to release this so tomorrow I can be better. You know?
Yeah,
So,
so you can journal, you can write things down. There's
mm-hmm,
this practice called memory journaling, right?
mm-hmm,
Where you actually write down something, a memory of something that you are trying to let go,
yeah,
and write down, what it is that you can learn from this experience, and then be grateful for
yeah,
the learning from that experience as well. Because I feel like that process will help you not see it as like you're kind of like trapped in this situation.
right,
It's like,
right.
no, you're not trapped in this situation. And this situation happened for a reason. And you can be thankful that it happened, and
Mhm.
not or, right? But be thankful it happened and let go of it and move on.
Releasing air. Deep breath.
Yeah, it's hard though. I mean,
Yeah,
it is hard, and I feel it, like that statistic showed about, us 45 to 65-year-olds is much more difficult. And I feel it. And also I think sometimes things that are happening in the world and that are happening around us, they
yeah.
they don't serve to allow us to be less fearful, right?
No,
They
not
just
at
make
all.
us, yeah,
Not
they
at all. Not
just
at
make
all.
us
And
more fearful.
we think about letting go at this very moment as losing. We
Mm.
we replace the word
Losing.
letting go and we think about it as losing. But you're not losing. You're making room, you know?
Yeah, I
So,
guess that goes back to like, what questions are we asking ourselves, right? Like, it's more about what can we gain from the situation, not what is it that we have lost in the
yeah.
situation.
I think we are also, I know you didn't talk about it, but I want you to because you've told me about this about fear mapping. And before we wrap this up, I would love for you to explain to our listeners what is fear mapping because I have a problem with fear. I had trauma that has happened to me, military trauma, and I have a problem with fear. And so you were talking about fear mapping, and I would love for you, Kamisha, just to let our listeners know what you have found out about fear mapping.
Oh, yeah. So fear mapping, so it's an exercise that helps you to like visualize and then address certain fears, right, about change. So in this one example, it talked about like drawing a circle, right, in the middle of the page. And then you create these branches that come out from the circle. So let's say your circle is about, like starting a new business, right? So that's the thing that you are afraid to be doing, that you put kind of like in the middle of the circle,
Right. Hmm.
right? But then you have these branches that say like, well, what if I fail? Or can I afford to do this? Or, I'm too old, right, to do this. But then the next step is for each of those fears, you start like creating columns where you actually do like real life checks, reality checks. Like, what are some of the past successes that you have had, right? Because lots of times when we're fearful, we're just looking at all the negative things that we
Mhm.
have not done,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, for example, if your fear is, am I too old? Well,
Right.
one of your reality checks can be like, I have 20 years of experience in this stuff, right? That's a positive. Like, that's not a negative. And of course, if you have 20 years experience, that means you have lived some life, right? So you're
That's
going
right.
to be older.
That's
And
right.
then, yeah, you can put down, kind of like, what are your past successes? Oh, well, I taught myself how to write code at
Mhm.
50, right? So, and then also if you need, like additional like supports, or if there's programs, or, things that might help you to feel more comfortable and like confident. But it's really more about like understanding like what this fear is, taking some time to really put some reality around it, and
Mhm.
give yourself some honest kind of evaluation of things
Yeah.
that you have been able to do in the past, and
Yeah.
then start taking some small steps, as you say, right,
Right.
in that direction. But I
Mhm.
do think that when you are doing this like fear mapping and you write things out, so there was another statistic that talked about, writing things down, writing down fears, and how it reduces them by like 40%.
Mhm. Mhm.
So first of all, you're already reducing them just by writing them down.
Mhm.
And then I think it further reduces if you start looking at things that are actually true versus
Right.
stuff that's made up,
That's mhm.
right? And also looking back at what have you been able to do already. So
Yeah.
many times, like we are so busy, like either thinking about all the terrible things that we missed out on in the
Yeah.
past, that we don't remember the successes. Like there was many successes that
Yeah.
got you to where you are today. And
Mhm.
so I think that's helpful. And then you just start taking like some small manageable steps,
Yeah.
right? So if you want to start a
One small
business and
step
maybe
at a
you're
time.
concerned you don't have money, maybe you start tracking your expenses, right?
Mhm.
You start saving some money, right? Or maybe you start researching how much it costs to start a business, right? Just like
Mhm.
little steps like that
Yeah.
that will actually help you move through that fear. So
Yeah.
that's what fear mapping is. And again, you use a journal and a paper and a pen, and take some time to write that down and walk through those
Mhm.
things.
Mhm. I love that.
Well,
I
I
love it.
think it really helps. Like for me, it has definitely helped in the past when I've had anxiety about things.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because it just removes some of the things we make up in our mind
Absolutely.
about
Absolutely.
who we are and what's possible for us and what
Mhm.
we've been able to do in the past. And it
Even
just
how
makes
we
it
listen
so
to other
clear.
people define who we are, that may not necessarily be true.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point too,
Mhm.
right? Because
Mhm.
it's all about how we define ourselves,
Mhm.
not how other
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
have defined us, right?
Absolutely.
And I do think we have so many successes in life. Like the fact that we have gotten to this age and
Mhm.
gotten to this point in our life, we're not abject failures, right?
Right.
Obviously, we're
And
not.
we're not invisible. And we're not invisible.
No, 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 no. So we just have to spend some more time loving ourselves and giving ourselves some more credit for
Yeah.
what we are able to do in the
Yeah.
future.
Releasing. The art of letting go. Releasing so you can make room for the next best or better thing. The
Yes.
art of letting go, whether it be a thought or a habit or a person or a
Mhm.
job or clothes in the closet or whatever it is that you need to let go so you can make room for that next best thing, especially women over 40, over 50. As fear set in, we're holding on to things, but I'm telling you, release them and feel free, because if
Mhm.
it no longer serves you, then you shouldn't be holding on to it, you know?
Yes. Absolutely. You are right, Denise.
Thank you, Kavisha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Let go, ladies. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be so worth it.
Yep.
It's
Let go. Let go.
yeah.
Until the next episode, and we have some great episodes coming up. We have a next episode where we're going to really expand on this art of letting go in relationship form. We have some menopause episodes coming up. We have what we call now not the round table, but the center table, and we'll have more information on that coming up. But guys, until next time, keep growing, keep embracing life, let go, and most of all, keep
Keep
blooming, ladies.
blooming.
Keep blooming.